Hey, what's up guys? Jay here. Welcome back to another video. Today we're going to do something a little bit differently again, where I'm going to walk you guys through my current PvP setup for Arena specifically. And I'm basically going to be giving a live commentary as I go through this to kind of give you guys my thought process. And so basically I'll start with my info here, starting with the stats. So for me, as you guys know in my previous videos, my PvP ones, I always try to focus going for that strength as much as I can because this gives me those max health, heavy attack chance, damage reduction, and more max health. And so basically what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hit 70, but with my current gear, I'm just unable to do that effectively. And as you know, the higher you get past level 60, the more those diminishing returns happen. And it takes like 2 or 3 points per stat point that you put into it. So I figure 60 is a pretty good threshold for me. I do have the ability to get my 30 wisdom as well to give me a little bit more mana, because in Arena specifically, you'll find that if you survive longer, you'll lose your mana a lot quicker. And so even having just a little bit more is pretty good. And so for me, I'm not going to go anything higher than this because I think that perception is just a little bit more valuable overall. Perception gives us that hit chance, and it also has the buff duration. And if I go into kind of the stat breakdown for that, basically, oops, let me go back to that. If I go into the stat breakdown for that too, basically we want to raise our perception as much as we can without sacrificing our survivability and strength. And so you'll see here that my hit chance is decently high. I mean, well, not as high as like a DPS, but it's good enough for me because basically what I need this for is to hit my blinds from a flash wave, and then also the tornado. I need to make sure I hit those as often as I can. You'll notice here that, yeah, I don't have maxed out stats for sure because I'm primarily free to play. And so basically I just try to focus the gear that I need, and that's pretty much it. But my health isn't too bad. Mana's pretty good. And then the mana cost efficiency, that's basically from my equipment that I have. And then also my skill heal. You'll see that this is 74%, which is actually pretty high. I kind of like it at this because I am a healer and I'm going pure heals too. And so basically I just want to make sure that I'm always maximizing my healing output as much as I can. And so you also notice too from the stats that I like to focus my melee endurance, range endurance, and magic endurance too, just a little bit. These two are my main ones because we're going to be dealing with a lot of melee, and so having that endurance will give us that extra survivability against critical hits and things like that. And so damage reduction, the higher we can get this, the better. My endgame build has about 3 times this, or I think it's about 68 is what we're going for. And this will really help us too. What I also like about this build is I have high buff duration, and then also debuff duration too, to kind of help with that extra utility. And then we have some skill damage resistance as well, which is always really nice. So basically, I'll move over into my gear. I'm always going to run these two. One, because I don't have enough money to even get or enough lucent, which is money really, to get anything better than this. But honestly, I really like this one because when you hit below 20%, then you become stealth for 3 seconds, which is really nice because that allows us to kind of survive a couple extra hits. And then I always bring the Karnix Netherbow, even if I'm in GVG or small scale PvP. This one for me is a must because I get that 9% range for me and the rest of my teammates, but I also get a huge strength bonus as well, and max health too, which is really nice on a weapon. For my gear, I'm always going to be focusing max health first, and then not max health first. I'm going to be focusing getting my stats first. So this one, for example, I have my strength and damage reduction, which is huge for us. So always get your stat bonuses first, and then go for max health, then your range endurance and melee endurance simultaneously. I think melee endurance is currently more important just because you're going to be dealing with so much of that in small scale arena. And then range endurance is just always good. So for these, I just have the Mask of Resistance and the Deadeye's Cloaked. These are good blue items for me. I was able to fully trade these out by selling stuff in the auction house and then using the Lucent I got from that on these items. And what I'm really going for next is I have the Ascended Guardian gloves, but I'm really going for the Ascended Guardian pants next so that I can get that set effect bonus of 7.5% cooldown speed. Plus, with these two, you get really good perception bonuses, mana cost efficiency, and I went with this one because this was back when we got these for free essentially throughout the campaign, and I didn't really change it from there. I just decided, well, magic endurance is fine, melee endurance and max health are really good, so why not? I'll take this for an extra utility. Definitely try to get your hands on a Shock Commander plate armor because this thing is crazy. We're definitely going for that set bonus, so I'm going for the helmet next if I can. Again, it's super expensive, so I probably won't see it for a long time. But yeah, always go for that melee and range endurance, max health if you can, and then those stat bonuses too. I like this Abatons of the Field General because we do get a little bit of movement speed. If you're a bow wand user, you know how slow you are. So getting that extra movement speed can be helpful. But really, we get it for the strength because that gives us +8 there. And then we get that range, melee, endurance. And then I also get max mana instead of the movement speed because that extra mana is really helpful in arena. And then we get the Braces of the Primal King, again for that max health, perception, and then bonus damage I don't really care for too much, but it's that perception, max health, skill damage, resistance, debuff, duration, all of these nice add-ons for that. And then definitely go for the Clasp of the Conqueror. Again, this is super expensive right now. I was able to just craft this. But I'm at a +5, +6 or +5 for strength, +6 for perception, and then I was able to, I ironically crafted a max health, which was just super nice, and then I was able to get a buff duration add-on as well. And then the Sapphire Dimensional Band for obvious reasons too. Wisdom, perception, buff duration, max health, everything you could want for your support class. And then for me, I just have this Abyssal Grace Band because rings are really expensive. The next one I want is the Universal Power, which as you guys know is incredibly expensive too. So I probably won't see that for a long time. And then finally I have my Gladiator's Girdle, which just gives overall max health, skill damage resistance, bind and silence resistance, which is really nice too. And so that's my gear that I have, which brings me at 3315 total. But really that comes from leveling up your stats too. Which we will go, or excuse me, your skills, which we're going to go into next. All right, guys, so here is going to be my breakdown of the skills. This is going to be uncut, so I'm just going to kind of walk through my thought process of each one. If you just want to take a quick picture of what I'm doing, I'll just kind of, wait a second and I'll jump over to my skill specs too, so that you guys can just jump right into the arena and not have to worry about my commentary for it. But yeah, feel free to pause this, take a picture of it, do what you got to do. And then for the skill specs, I'll do the same thing as well. And we're going to go into depth with each of these. So if you just need a quick photo of it or whatever you need to do, feel free to do that. And then I'll jump over to this one so that you guys can get into the arena. All right, so now we're going to do the kind of the full breakdown of what my thought process is and why I actually chose the things I did. So as a pure healer in arena, it can be pretty challenging because we have 0 damage potential. At least that's how I've built this one. You can do a little hybrid builds to help you with doing a little bit more damage. But for me, I've really liked going with just pure heals, pure utility, helping our team out as much as I can. And so we're going to start with the wand specs right away, or excuse me, the wand spells right away. Beginning with Swift Healing. So Swift Healing, I mean, it's just obvious. This is like our best, quick heal that we can have. It says it can be used 2 times in a row. When we get into the specs, we're going to be using this 3 times because this thing is just awesome. I mean, this will save you. There's not really much I can say about it. It's just bringing this no matter what build you have. Even if you're going a hybrid build, this will be your best burst healing that you can get. And then I'll move, we'll kind of go top to bottom. So I'll start or go next to the Fountain of Life. I always bring the Fountain of Life because it gives that AoE healing. Typically, I like to drop it on myself when I see that there's going to be one or two guys jumping on me. And so I like to have this just as an extra heal. And then also when my teammates are grouped up, which obviously doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough to where this becomes pretty useful. Okay, so now we're going to get into the bottom row here, which there's going to be a lot of, I think, opinions on how we can handle this. But I'll just start with the invincible wall. This one is awesome. And as we get into the specs, I'll be able to explain a little bit more. But you want to bring this because a shield is just awesome for your team. I mean, it'll help mitigate damage, it helps save them from anything that could go wrong. You can help save yourself too. Sometimes I use it preemptively so that I can give them a little bit extra wiggle room while they're engaging. So just bring this. And then, guys, this is the most important skill in our whole tree, right? Like, this is the most important one. And I'll explain why. So basically, this barrier gives healing received, so it grants a blessed barrier that increases allies' magic, melee, and range defense by 1900, which is just insane, right? Obviously, I don't have it fully maxed out, but if I did, it'd be 2100, which is awesome. But additionally, this is why it's the most important. The barrier increases healing received by 45% during the day and increases magic, melee, and range endurance by 450 at night. So typically for arena, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but this is what I've noticed in arena, that if you're going in arena, it's pretty much always day. I don't think that you can do arena at night, but please correct me on that if you know, because what I've experienced is right when I throw this on a teammate, I always am able to get them back to full health. Using this in combination with Swift Healing will always get them back to full health, which is really nice. And so this is the most important skill. So if you guys could level this one up first, that's probably your primary one, at least from the wand side. Next, I go Enchanting Time here. So this is Time for Punishment, but I switch it over to Enchanting Time. This gives that skill damage boost, right, by 200 for 9 seconds, which is insane. So just remember what I said. We don't do any damage, like, at all. There's no damage potential. I'll try to do the best that I can. But in reality, there's like no damage that we can output for the team that would actually be useful. And so the reason why I bring this is to provide a little bit of damage in a way by giving it to someone who actually can do damage. And so I'll usually recognize who my carry is, and then I'll throw this on him right at the beginning, like right when we're about to go into a fight or mid-fight. Make sure that this is pretty much being used on cooldown. And then this is going to be interesting. And I kind of want to hear what you guys think of this. But Janus's Rage, right? So I switched this. So originally it's Clay's Salvation, but I switched it to Janus's Rage. And the reason is exactly the same for Enchanting Time, right? So I've noticed, I don't know if you guys have noticed this in the arena, but I've noticed that Clay's Salvation just really isn't as, good as I think it is in mass GVG. Because, like, sure, you can heal up you, yourself, and your allies, but it's just a quick burst of healing. And honestly, I kind of like our single target healing, which I think are a little bit more effective overall, especially in a small scale arena because you're only worrying about 2 people, right? And so for me, I've actually been experimenting a lot with this, and it's been really fun because basically I throw on my Enchanting Time. And then I also throw this on too to give that extra 5% increase, which is just ridiculous. Like, it sounds really small, but it's actually a really big thing for your team because it allows them to just get a little bit more damage than the enemy. And then that'll help either finish off kills or sustain a fight that's possibly losing. And so you'll see me use this quite a bit. Basically, I use these two on cooldown as often as I can. Obviously, you want to read the situation so you don't use it at a bad time. But I'll get into the skill specs a little bit more, and then we'll get you guys some gameplay later too. Okay, so then we're going right into Nature's Blessing. Always bring this no matter what. I mean, if you're doing GVG or small scale arena, this just removes weakens and then gives a massive health regeneration. And when you proc it with Healing Touch, it's even better. And then going into Blitz. Blitz is awesome, guys. Like, Blitz is a must for PvP, no matter if you're doing GVG or not, because this will let you restart or recast one of your spells. Particularly, you're going to see me do this a lot. I almost always, use Blitz to get my Blessed Barrier back, because essentially I'll throw a Blessed Barrier on a teammate, quickly use my Blitz, and then I'll have another one just in case I go down, or I'm starting to go down, or my teammates taking more damage. So always bring that. And then Flash Arrow, always change that to Flash Wave. We want that blind. We want it a little bit wider so we can hurt teammates if needed. And we want to heal and do a little bit of damage too. Purifying Touch, I like to bring this. So this could be something that I take a look at in the future, of maybe switching this out with more of a sleep to get some kind of control. But I like the cleanse, because if someone's getting stunned in my group, or they get slept or whatever, it really throws the enemy team off when all of a sudden that they can come right back in the fight. And so this has been really effective too. Healing Touch, no brainer. Always bring this. Because it's your dot heals. You just want to cast this as much as possible. Obviously, KR is dealing with a little bit, or they're dealing with kind of a nerf with this whole deal, where basically this cooldown is shared with Swift Healing. But we're just going to continue to use it until it comes to our servers as well. So we won't worry about that too much. And then finally, the Tornado. I like to bring this because any sort of collision is just so strong. If you can hit this on your enemy, it really throws them off, especially if you have a ranged DPS on your team. It'll help them be able to finish the kill and really stop them in their tracks. I always also go with Overtaker, just because if you do get that dodge, you get an extra jump as well, which gives you more distance. Moving into the passives. So for the passives, I'm always going to run these four. Really all of these except for this one, Sniper Sense, and I'll get into that. So basically we want Devotion and Emptiness, because I mean that just gives you that skill increase by 32% and decreases cooldowns by 10% during the day. Again, I'm pretty sure, I'm almost 100% that all PvP Arena are during the day, but I could be wrong in that, so correct me please. But either way, I mean, you're getting a lot more healing, which is nice, or damage too. And then with Noble Revival, always bring this. It just increases your healing based on how much mana you have, which is great. And then Saint's Oath, again, more healing and more healing. So we want this. And then Selfless Soul is really good to get that mana regen and heal back up while you're using your abilities. So basically, as you're using your abilities, you'll get health regen and mana regen a lot quicker, which is great. And then this is a great Distorted Sanctuary, great for survivability, because it gives us all three of that endurance, which we're stacking in our gear anyway, so this synergizes super well. And that's why I don't recommend going Evasion on a wandbow specifically, because you have passives that stack with endurance, so you might as well capitalize on that. And then also I bring Earth's Blessing. This helps increase our health regen by 92 and health recovery from skills by 30%, which is just great for sustain overall. And then the Devoted Shield, yeah, apparently this is getting nerfed as well. It's already kind of nerfed in KR, but we're just going to take advantage of it and use it to best we can now. Basically, it gives, whenever you're struck by a weaken, you almost have a 10% chance to grant a shield that absorbs 3,000 damage, which is just crazy. So if someone's spamming weakens on you, you're basically going to get this for free, which they're going to nerf this, which I think they should. I mean, honestly, like, this is crazy strong. And so, yeah, it kind of feels bad as a main healer, but I think it's good for the health of the game too. And then finally, I go Sniper Sense. This one can be switched out for a couple things if you want to play around with it. But the reason why I bring it is to give me basically that critical hit chance, which goes towards our healing. So the farther away I am from teammates, say they run away and I'm trying to get to them and give them health, they will have a chance at getting that critical healing, which again, I'm not going to be focused too much on that. I don't put anything in dexterity because I don't think it's worth the effort in that, but it is nice when it does happen. And so I just bring this to just increase that just a little bit. So, all right, now we'll go to the Masteries real quick. So Wand, I'm always going to go middle up to Redemptive Penance to get that skill heal of 8%. And then I always want to go at the top. And the reason why I want that is because I want Greedy Need, which gives us an additional 5%. So I'm only level 12 right now, so I'm not very close. But, you know, we get some base damage, and then we also get this curse damage, which, yeah, not very effective because we switched it out or we switch time of punishment out. But at least I don't know if it synergizes with switching it to the one that helps our team. But I just have it because I'm ultimately going for more cooldown speed for greedy need. And then longbow, I always go run all the way through the top if you can, because you get that weaken resistance and CC resistance, and then I run it to the middle to give us more cooldown speed too if you ever switch to the bow. All right, for skill specialization, guys, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. And this is where you can really change your build however you want to do, but this is what I run. So swift healing, I'm always going to run these three in arena, in GVG, it doesn't matter. Because you want that transfer to you just in case you're taking damage and you're trying to heal teammates. It's just a really nice utility. Consecutive use, I'm always going to have this on pretty much every build because it allows me to just use it 3 times, which is great. And then we'll also get the distance increase because, as I said before, people can kind of run away from you. And so you want to be able to at least get them up if there's a situation that you need it. Okay, so this is where it gets interesting, right? So Janice's Rage. So this increases the base damage by 5.6% for all party members within range, right? Mine's only level 3, so for anyone else, it's just around 5.2, 5.4%. But again, I think that this is a little bit more valuable than just getting a pure healing out because it gives your team a little bit more damage that they can work with. Again, we don't provide any damage support to the team, so I think this is our way of giving more damage by allowing our teammates who have really high amounts of damage to just do more of it, which I think is really helpful. And then I always bring the radius increase for this because originally I didn't, because I'm like, oh, well, I'm going to be close quarters enough anyway. But I realized that sometimes people's abilities will kind of jump out of the range, and you want to make sure that when you use Janice's Rage, that it's actually being used. And so you don't want to just use it on yourself and one teammate. You want all 3 of you to get that proc so that they can do as much damage as possible. And then same with Enchanting Time, switching time for punishment for this. I mean, it just gives them a skill damage boost, which is awesome. And then I always increase the effect duration here too by 3 seconds because we just want to get as much damage out there to help our team as possible. And again, since we're not doing it, we give it to our teammates. Because Blessed Barrier is our best skill, in my opinion, always get that 1 second, even though it's just 1 second, that 1 second could mean, life or death for your teammate or yourself. So getting that is really helpful. I don't recommend either of these. Yes, you can increase the max damage for, your ally. I haven't really experimented with that, but it might be interesting to try that out with Janice's Rage, Blessed Barrier, and then maybe throwing Invincible Wall on them to give them a shield while they just go crazy. So I guess that's something I could experiment with later, but we just didn't have enough points for it, and I think the other stats here will use those points more effectively. And then finally, Fountain of Life. Guys, I don't really bring mana recovery. People in Arena sometimes get annoyed that like, hey, throw this down, give me mana. But to be honest, guys, like don't bring it because if someone dies, they get their mana back, and it's pretty rare that you're going to have an entire fight where no one dies, period. And so like this is way more valuable to just throw the radius increase down for healing rather than mana recovery. I might get some pushback from that, but to be honest, it's really not that effective. We want to get massive heals out. We want to help our team with damage, but we don't want to sacrifice the other skills that we could use for just a little bit of mana. For me, it just hasn't really worked out, so I always just use the radius increased. All right, now we're going to the bow. And so right down to Nature's Blessing here. I always get Vitality because I want Healing Touch to be as potent as it possibly can. And so basically I bring this so that when they do have a Healing Touch on them, then this will give them even more healing regeneration, which is great. And then speaking of Healing Touch, again, I want this to be as potent as possible. So I get the duration increased, which applies a proc to Flash Wave, giving them even more healing too. So basically whenever someone has Healing Touch, I can use Nature's Blessing or Flash Wave, and then they'll get even more healing. Tornado, yeah, you just turn your the other ability into a tornado, because I just think this is really strong, even in arena. People might disagree with that, but honestly, I think the times I've used it, you're able to isolate a healer, even for those quick, couple seconds, for 2 seconds. That's a huge difference in arena small scale. And then Purifying Touch, I was going back and forth on this, but I've learned that whenever I've put Purifying Touch on someone, it just, it's cool. It just removes like a stun, for example, but then it doesn't do anything else. But if you are able to use this on someone, then it gives that healing touch on them as well if you were able to remove a weakness. So basically, if I already had if I had 2 stacks of healing touch and then I cleanse them, then they get a stack of 3. And even if you have 3 stacks on someone and you use Purifying Touch, it'll actually give a 4th. It'll be a separate bar, so it doesn't stack like 4 stacks on one healing touch, but it'll add an additional one, which is just more healing overall. And then so basically you can use Purifying Touch. Say you don't have healing touch up, use Purifying Touch, boom, I got a stack, and now I can use Nature's Blessing or Flash Wave to get those procs. And then speaking of Flash Wave, yeah, I'm always going with these 3 because you want that Flash Wave to give that damage and healing, and then you want to widen the range just in case. I tried this out without, didn't really feel good, so I always kept the wide range, and then also blind too, because we always want to help our teammates in that regard. So with that, so that's basically my build, guys. This is literally what I run. So I haven't changed anything just for the sake of the video. I've literally kept everything how I normally run it. And then if we go to arena, so right now, yeah, I've gone up because just not playing so much, your rank starts to decrease because so many people are trying to vie for that top spot. But I think we're doing okay. I mean, so a lot of these losses were early on when I was just learning the game. Now I've only played 123 total on this character, but I've learned a lot from it. And so I think I will jump into a ranked game for you guys and show you exactly, how powerful this can be. Maybe we're going to hopefully we get a W, hopefully we win. If we don't, that's totally fine too. But I really want to showcase the potential of this pure healing build. Because like I said, or like I've been saying, pure healing, it can be pretty challenging when you have it in just arena because you're so reliant on your teammates. And so, which I mean is good or bad, right? Like, I'm not saying that if you lose your team, like you weren't the problem, your team was. But I'm more saying because we don't have any damage, we can't really hard carry. Whereas like a staff 1, they will definitely be able to hard carry a little bit better or a lot of bit better than us because we just don't have the damage. So something I'm also working towards is this trinket, guys. So if you don't have this, definitely try to get it. My bottleneck is the Abyssal Aggregate because I used all of those to get the plate that I have. So once I'm able to get this, I mean, this thing will literally be a game changer. So if you have the Lucent for it, I mean, you can just go to the auction house here and then, be able to pick up those materials because, like I said, here we go. Looks like we got a game. Awesome. So I'm going to be doing my best, guys, to talk while I'm playing, and I'm going to try to give you guys my thought process as I'm going through it. It's the first time I've been talking while trying to play too, so I'll do the best that I can. So the first thing I do is I always analyze, okay, it looks like they have a bow 1 healer, they got a lot of range damage, and they have a tank too, so we want to avoid that guy. But on our team, we have ranged and a tank as well. So because the tank's going to survive a lot, I'm always going to just throw my healing touch on my damage dealer, who's a little bit more squishy, just in case, right? So basically we analyze the field right now. They're going to get really aggressive on us, which is totally fine. It looks like our buddy went in, so I'm going to try to cleanse this. I got slept, no worries. So right now, we're just going to relax a second, and it's fine if he goes down. Basically, we want to enable this guy, give him some extra healing if we can. And we're also going to Flash Wave here to give them a little bit more sustainability. You'll notice here I'm going to try to use my Tornado to get the tank flying if I can. Was able to get the tank flying there. Look at my team. Going to give them that Rage to give them more power here. My teammate went down, unfortunately. He's very squishy, so I have to note that. So basically, I'm messing up right now, which is totally fine. Right there, I used my Blessed Barrier, switched to my Blitz. Was able to use Blessed Barrier again to heal them back up. Healing myself up too, giving myself a barrier as well. And we're also going to give this to the tank because he's doing a lot of damage. Here, I got to be careful of my squishy back as well, but I'm going to be focusing on my tank just to give him a little bit more procs. I got slept again. No big deal here. So basically, now I'm going to get cast up in the air. Got to use my big heals to make sure that this guy doesn't go down. We're also going to use Flash Wave to give this guy a little bit more healing. Give him the Blessed Barrier as well. And then we're also going to save the rest of our abilities here. I'm going to try to toss people up if I can. If not, no big deal. We're going to cleanse that to give him the... And then look, guys, we have our Rage back, so we immediately use it right away. I want to make sure we're always using our Rage ability if possible. Get my Healing Touch out. They're going to dive our squishy, so I'm going to throw a barrier on him early, right? And then we're going to give him some heals as well. So we always want to make sure we're basically spamming our abilities here. You can see I have 3 touches on him, 3 healing touches, which is good. And then we're going to have to give him a Blessed Barrier here in a second. So you heal that up because he's being CC'd at the moment. So look at like that. Our tank is doing some work right back here. Gonna give him massive heals again. This guy's just taking a lot of heat. We'll keep cleansing to give him more healing touches. They're gonna find that to be really annoying, so they're gonna try to CC him out of that, which is smart. So our tank here, he's just doing a lot of work, so we're gonna give him damage, and then we're also gonna give more of our rage, right? And then for me, I'm going to take a lot of damage here, so we're basically, that was a good pull on their part, but we're gonna try to send these guys flying, make it back up to our team. This guy's getting upset. Which is totally fine here. We're just doing the best we can. You know, you're not going to win them all. This is a pretty tough matchup so far. They do focus this guy out a lot, which I have to be a little bit more cognizant. So basically, I'm just always making sure that we get heals. Wow, yeah, this guy's taking a lot of damage. I'm doing the best that I can here. We're just gonna have to regroup, unfortunately. I'll cleanse myself out of this, and yeah, I'm just gonna take a lot of damage there. Yeah, and you can see that, you know, sometimes people get pretty upset in this because we're in ranked, we're in a high ranking lobby as well, and so you're gonna see a lot of people get a little bit more passionate about it, which is totally fine here. But again, I'm gonna give that damage boost here. I'm also gonna give it to this guy because he's doing a ton of damage. So he's going to be moving in. I'm going to give him some more assistance here. Oh, we got thrown up in the air. Totally fine. Always looking at my health bar, but I'm also looking at my teammate's health bar too. Going to give him massive heals here because he needs it, which is good. And then we'll get the cleanse off as well. This guy's about to take a lot of heat right now, so we make sure we preemptively give him the Blessed Barrier, but then we get it back with our ability there. I got slept, which is unfortunate. So we're going to give him a shield again, that single target shield, and then hopefully we can get the Blessed Barrier off, and then we just top him off. Let's use our damage boost again, and then we're going to try to send these guys flying to help their teammates out a little bit here. He got to cleanse that. Oh, yeah, didn't pay attention to my health there too. But yeah, this is a tough game, guys. So you'll see at the end, like, I'm doing a lot of healing, but it's just one of those games where, you know, it's a tough game. The guys on the other team are playing super well. And so, yeah, we'll probably have to rush in there. Alright, so it looks like our buddy's kind of giving up here, which, I mean, it was kind of a tough game. So totally fine with that. So, but it's all right. I mean, it happens. It is what it is. Like, sometimes you just can't win them all. And so we just got to move on to the next one. Like you said, no, we did well here. So I thought we did pretty well keeping our teammates up as best we can. As you see, we got 200k healing, 20k damage. And if you look at the other guy, he did a little bit more damage, but we did do a lot of healing there. And so basically could have noted, or should have noted quicker, that our guy was just a little bit too squishy. And so we should have been able to help him out and try to prevent a lot of those deaths that happen. All right, guys, looks like we got another game, which is awesome. So yeah, like you know, we can't win them all, but we can do the best that we can. And so basically, as a pure healer, like if you're getting massive heals, it's awesome. You want to prevent the deaths here. All right, so we got a really interesting duo here, right? So they have a staff wand, which is going to be pretty hard, and they also have a greatsword daggers, which is going to be even more challenging. So it's going to be a really hard matchup. These two guys are going to be doing a ton of damage. And so basically, I just got to figure out, this guy's probably going to do more. You can just tell based off of the health he has. Maybe he's not going to do more damage, but he might have a little bit better gear. This guy's got about 12k damage. We don't know that for sure, so we'll kind of get a feel. But right away, you're going to notice here that these guys are going to be hyper aggressive. So we got to get our damage proc to them as quickly as possible. They're going in right now, so we're just going to try to make do with what we got. I'm going to send a flash wave out right away. My positioning is pretty bad here, so we're just going to send this out as quickly as possible. Try to cleanse this for this guy. They're going to be taking a lot of damage, and I'm going to try to break line of sight here as best as I can. Basically, we're going to send this out in the middle just in case we can help our teammates as best as we can here. And I'm going to give our big heals as well, just in case, right? And so I always want to make sure, I forgot about it. But basically, we just want to make sure to get that damage proc out as well. This guy's going to be a threat, so we just want to CC. These guys are doing an excellent job of isolating this. I mean, this poor guy, he's just taking a lot of damage, a lot of CC. So these guys are doing an excellent job with their abilities, which is great, right? So again, I'm going to give this ability right away, but then we're going to throw this in with that shout to give them a little bit more. We're going to cleanse this. Give them that heals. These guys are going to try to hit me up, which they'll do a lot of damage to me, which is totally fine. But I'm going to be okay because I have, I'm going to use Flash Wave here. But I'm totally fine. But remember, I used Blessed Barrier, right? And I quickly use Blitz. So the tendency will be to just spam heals right away. No, you want to make sure that you got your Blitz ability. These teammates are really good. So this is awesome. They're CCing correctly. They're doing what they need to do. Now you'll notice, right, so Root Tank, he's got a little light over his head. That means he's getting all of the kills here, right? So it is imperative, really, that we keep this guy alive if we can. So for me, I'm just going to use abilities on myself right now because I'm taking a lot of heat here. So I'm going to try to use my crits, but I'm also going to give them damage. And because he's right next to me, I can give him some more damage as well. And so we'll be able to capitalize on that. So look at how much damage they're able to do because we gave them the shout and we gave them enchanting time too. And so you'll notice here, Mana's doing pretty well. I'm doing all right. What's going to happen is they're going to realize that I'm going to be their main target. So this means we just have to be a little bit more careful on how we engage with this. We have to prepare a little bit better. How we do that is with barrier, right? So I'm gonna have to cleanse this right away. And basically, he's going in. This guy wants it. So we're just gonna support them here. Little flash wave in the back line, but they're gonna push ahead, right? So we're just gonna preemptively send a tornado down. Even if it doesn't do anything, I still want to do it, just in case that they decided to go down there. So again, I got my shout. So I'm gonna use my shout right away. I was able to get both of them here, which is really nice. We're going to keep the pressure up, and I mean, we're just automatically winning that. I mean, I'll just give it to my DPS there. They knew exactly what they were doing. So shout out to these guys for just doing a really good job. But yeah, so that's basically it, guys. That's my build. But yeah, I appreciate you guys checking out my video. Thanks for all the support, and I'll see you in the next one.